Hello friends, this is a warning. This video will not be short. I could just do 3 bullets, but this is a longer conversation to tell you that I have learned a lot about coronavirus and COVID-19, and I was wrong about many things. And I continue to learn and change my thought process about many things along this way. So when my daughter told me about coronavirus, she was planning on going to Korea in January of 2020. And she asked me about it. I said, oh, don't worry about it. It's like Sears, it's like MERS, no big deal. It's a bad flu, wear a mask, wash your hands, it'll be fine. So we got her prepared. She learned what an N95 was, and she taught me about cloth masks with changeable filters. I'd never seen that before, but this was standard protocol in Korea where they wear masks everywhere all the time through public transportation. So we felt good about it. She went over there for 6 weeks, and then it became the second hot spot of the world. And we started watching healthcare providers dying, nurses dying, doctors dying, surgeons dying, respiratory therapists dying. So we hadn't really seen this kind of thing since Ebola, where people going on the front line to care for those in need were catching an infection that we didn't understand and were dying. So we started being a little bit concerned. She made it back on one of the last flights out of Korea before they closed the United States to Korean flights. And then the following month, we were closing all elective procedures. We were not going to waste masks and gowns and gloves and all of our supplies. We were going to prepare for the onslaught of the tidal wave that was about to hit us. We were learning a great deal. We were learning from our Korean partners, our Italian partners, our Chinese partners. And then in the United States, we were learning from the devastation that we were watching in New York, that the vent settings we use for normal large amounts of pneumonia and infections were the opposite of what we needed. The antibiotics we were given, the opposite of what we needed. All the care we were given was not the care we needed. So we were pivoting, we were learning, we were changing how we were treating. At that time, if you ended up in the ICU, there was an 85% chance you were not leaving the hospital ever. And that was terrifying stuff that we had never seen before in this country with the state-of-the-art medical resources that we had. We were having a shortage of ventilators, ECMO machines, et cetera, et cetera. So we, as healthcare providers, were looking at our will. We were looking at our last statements, how we wanted to live our life, how we wanted to protect ourselves. And we were having to make hard decisions. We were changing clothes, of course, in our garages. We were avoiding our children. We were decontaminating as much as we could as we continued to do what we could to fight something that we did not completely understand. So at the time we had sequenced the virus, and in the summer they started having some trials with some vaccines. So they asked us, physicians and nurses, if we wanted to be part of the vaccine trials, knowing that we had the most exposure, most regular exposure. And I said, no way. As a single mom, sole breadwinner for my household, I'm not going to be the guinea pig. I'm not going to enroll in this. I'm going to let somebody else do this. And then we continued to take care of patients through the summer. We became more comfortable with what we had, and we had more comfortable understanding of how this thing was spread. We also were seeing that it was disproportionately killing the elderly well as those with chronic illness and chronic medical conditions. Knowing that, I knew that if I were to get the virus, I would probably survive. I may have some long hauler effects. I may have some neurologic effects. I may have some lung, heart effects, taste effects, chronic nausea, chronic diarrhea. I understood that, but I understood I would probably survive. So I knew that we needed to have the focus where we did, our nursing homes and protecting our special needs children. So we were doing that, and they were rolling out more vaccines and more vaccine trials and asking us if we wanted to participate, because now we had 4 and 5 vaccines coming out all at the same time, because the push was multiple vaccines will be available with multiple modalities. And again, I said, ooh, I don't know that I want to be first in line for that. And then came December. We're starting to see mutations. Now the virus is no longer just attacking the elderly. These new mutations are attacking the 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds. And as a hepatologist, I understand mutations of viruses. 50% of my career is spent taking care of patients with hepatitis A, B, and C. Hepatitis A has a vaccine. Hepatitis B has a vaccine. Hepatitis C does not. but we're able to cure Hep C, and that's been a great part of my career, getting rid of that. Well, hepatitis B, I'm very familiar with mutations because I'm able to control a patient's virus and their symptoms and prevent their risk of liver cancer by keeping their viral load as low as possible. As low as possible means the least chance for the virus to mutate. Every virus, like everything else on the planet, its whole job is just to procreate itself. It doesn't care how, it just wants to procreate itself. So you can think of some bad jokes there, but I'm not going to go there. So with the hepatitis B virus, I can have a patient stable on a medication for 3 years. 5 years, they start to break through. In between 5 and 10 years, the majority will have a virus that mutates so that it's now resistant to my medication. Then I have to add a second medication. Again, that's going to get me another 5 to 10 years before it mutates out of that. And then I'm going to add a third medication. Well, there's not much more than 3 medications for Hep B. And then eventually Hep B wins. And so we are able to get ahead of Hep B by vaccinating people. When we vaccinate people, they never even get the virus and they don't have a time to mutate. So I understand how mutations work and how deadly they are, not only to the individual, but to society as these mutated variants spread and the virus becomes smarter and changes. Well, again, come to December, and now I've watched it treating or killing the 80-year-olds and the 60-year-olds, and now it's killing the 40-year-olds. I can see the writing on the wall. This thing is going to continue to mutate the more we give it free rein to infect more people. So we get an email that says, do you want the vaccine? Yes. Do you want the vaccine? No. Do you want the vaccine? I'm thinking about it. And I checked, I'm thinking about it. And then I stared at the screen. And then I remembered I have so many patients that are recipients of liver transplants, or that I put on immunosuppressive medications to treat their autoimmune hepatitis or their other autoimmune conditions like Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And I also, of course, remember my daughter who has special needs, who hangs out with other children with special needs. And I said, man, I cannot be a vector for that. And I cannot be the body where the mutation occurs that's going to continue to mutate to make the virus attack our young people, because we have been given a gift that it attacked the older people first. So I changed and I said, yes, I'm going to get the vaccine. Hope this goes okay. So I go and get the vaccine. I'm vaccinated on day 2 when physicians and other healthcare providers can be vaccinated. That afternoon, I started to get some taste issues, some nausea issues, some headache issues, some body ache issues, and that's all right. Shot 2 was a little bit more rough. I got the full-blown fever and vomiting and did not feel well. But by the 3rd day after the shot, I literally got up and ran 3 miles, which I don't do every day. So yeah, I made it through with, several hours of illness, but I didn't get COVID. And more importantly, I wasn't going to be at risk for allowing COVID to get stronger and for allowing COVID to spread to those I love. So looking at where we're talking about right now, if we're looking at my horrible example of what humans look like, in the United States, we're at about 40% that are vaccinated, that aren't even going to get the virus at all. And those that are going to get the virus, a few of them are going to spread it to others. Not all of them. But occasionally, in somebody that this is spreading to, there's going to be a variant. There's going to be a mutation. And when this mutation forms, this mutation could be that's resistant either to the medications we have out now, or is doing what we're seeing, which is each variant is attacking younger and younger patients. So how do you stop these variants from forming? Well, you lower the viral load. Well, that's one way of doing it. Or you get vaccinated. The more people that get vaccinated, the less mutations that will occur. And that will mean the less boosters we'll have to do ultimately. That will mean the less younger people this thing will affect. That will mean the less resistance to the medications we already have out. I'm learning, I'm evolving, we're all learning, we're all evolving. New information is coming out every day. The opinions I had a year ago is not the same opinions I have today. The opinions I have today will probably be different than a year from now. So just throwing this out there, we're all learning, we're all evolving, but this virus is learning and evolving too. And there is a way to stop it. 98% effective at stopping the virus, 96% effective at stopping it from spreading it asymptomatically to others, AKA stopping variants from forming. So something to consider, something to think about. We don't have all the answers. You're right. We've had one woman in the United States die from the vaccine, and that was unfortunate. We've had over 150 million people get vaccinated in the United States. Meanwhile, the virus itself has killed 583,000 in the United States, including 250 kids. Yes, we've lost one to the vaccine. No, I do not know the long-term effects. Nope, I don't know what's going to happen to us 10 years from now, but I do know what happens with the actual infection right now. And I do understand mutations, and I don't want to give this virus one more minute on this planet if we can help it. So think about it. If you've got questions, you can DM me, you can text me. I'm here to just share what I know and what I'm learning every day. Take care. I love you guys. Bye.